Well, guys, some big news from Washington. Today, President Biden signed an executive order to temporarily close the southern border. Say what you want about Biden, but he takes immediate action 5 months before an election. That's what I was saying. I feel bad for Biden. He can't close the border, and he can't open a bottle of Tylenol. So, I mean, he's really got it rough.
He's really got it rough. Late night TV, they're so hilarious, huh? And it's what did it take 3.5 years for Joe Biden to start to undo what he did himself with 94 executive orders opening our border, opening the floodgates, waving the gangs in. The killers, the kidnappers, the drug traffickers, the human traffickers, the Democrats are making everything better, aren't they? The murder of Laken Riley, the murder of Ruby Garcia. When I was driving in, I was thinking about this, comparing the life of Laken Riley to the life of George Floyd. And looking at the Democrat Party, a filthy, corrupt, nasty, awful party, making a legend, a hero of a career criminal drug addict named George Floyd, a Democrat, obviously, and completely ignoring the actual murder of a 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley by an illegal alien from Venezuela. Hey, Venezuela! And I break out the, what are those things called? Castanets. Got the castanets. Got to break out the castanets. Because the Democrats, they're dancing. They dance on the graves of the innocent, and they celebrate the guilty. That's your Democrat Party. They're not well, and they're not on our side. Boy, they're not on our side. But Joe Biden yesterday, he signed an executive order, and then he tried to explain it, and he got a lot wrong, and he mangled a lot of things, including the name of the new president of Mexico that he mangled yesterday when he was having his little press affair. And the news media, they stripped down to their swimsuits. Did you see that? That was kind of weird at the White House. And they ran after Joe Biden and tackled him and gave him a tongue bath after he got all this stuff wrong. And it's, boy, such a racist is Joe Biden, and so racist is this executive order that it's got a tripwire of a trigger, because, you know, they love being triggered, of 2,500 illegal aliens a day coming into the United States. How many? That's like 500 million a month, I think. Isn't that? I'm just doing the back of the envelope math there. I think I'm embellishing slightly, but and I think the Senate bill, didn't the Senate bill have, was it 4,000 a day or 5,000 a day, the Senate border bill, which they said we absolutely had to pass, otherwise we were racists. And now they've cut that number in half. It's pretty amazing stuff. The Democrats, they lie all the time, and it's okay because they've got a news media that can't wait to give them a tongue bath. It's quite remarkable. Yes, it is. And they lie. They lie about everything. Even when they're telling the truth, they're lying. That's just amazing. 5,000 a day. Now it's 2,500 a day. And the news media, they lied about it. They didn't tell the truth, and that's fine with them because that's what they do. But Joe Biden, with his executive order yesterday, he told us, and I played the audio for you yesterday of Joe Biden again and again, saying he couldn't do anything by executive order until he decided it was time to do something by executive order. And then he did something by executive order, which really first and foremost proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he lied and lied and lied and about not being able to do anything by executive order, and blaming those terrible Republicans who don't want to secure the border. They want it as a political issue. That is the opposite of the truth. Joe Biden he's brain dead, but he is just smart enough to lie a lot. And the people feed him the lies. We see his cue cards and all that stuff. So that's one of the things we want to get to is Joe Biden's big lie about, and then this Senate bill that they lied about, and now the executive order that proves that they were lying about all kinds of things all along. And if we had a news media, those would be headlines blaring across the country, but we really don't. It's tough. You got to watch Newsmax, listen to this radio show and this radio station, and then you'll be fine. But amazing stuff. Speaking of which, having nothing to do with anything, a founding member of the radical Black Panther Party supports Donald Trump, and he says he's always been a friend of black people. And he's going back to the 1960s. He's known him, this founding member of the Black Panther Party. He's known Donald Trump since the 1960s, and he's always liked him, and he came out and posted a bit of a video, and it's sort of fun. The Black Panthers for Donald Trump. And maybe it's because they're tired of being lied to. That's possible. Just saying. The great people at Newsbusters put together a wonderful piece that I'd kind of wanted to get to yesterday, but I didn't. Too much stuff, on TV's negative, nasty, lurid, and obsessive coverage of Donald Trump's trial and how negative all the coverage was and the words that they used. And they're very creepy. The news media, very corrupt. The most corrupt institution in America. I've heard. Where have I heard that? Oh, yeah, I've been saying that for years now. It's true. That's why I say it. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it because it wouldn't be true. Amazing stuff. Also, the Wall Street Journal has a piece today, and Time Magazine has a piece today on Joe Biden. And it has the both pieces have the Democrats very upset because everything's supposed to be a tongue bath. But the Wall Street Journal has a piece, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping. Behind closed doors, he falls down in public all over the place. I don't think you have to go behind closed doors. We have learned over the last year or so that Joe Biden behind closed doors curses out his staffers and abuses them and uses every foul word in the book, in the, George Carlin's 7 words, the 7 deadly words, and he curses his people out all over the place. He demeans them. He degrades them. I don't know if he still pins them against the wall and sexually assaults them like he did with the Senate staffer on Capitol Hill, Tara Reid, who felt it necessary to flee the United States of America for her own safety and well-being. But when you're a Democrat, that's not a story that follows you. That's fine. Like George Floyd's whole life is not a story that follows him. But Officer Derek Chauvin is sent to prison for murder, and he's stabbed 22 times by a Democrat trying to murder him. And then, of course, the Democrats trying to put President Trump in prison and strip him of his Secret Service protection because they want to have a Derek Chauvin done on him by another Democrat. But the Wall Street Journal, behind closed doors, Biden shows signs of slipping. I honestly don't think you had to go that far. You could watch him falling down on stage, tripping over a sandbag. Remember that? He blamed the sandbag. Falling over on his bicycle, walking into furniture, staring off into the distance, shaking hands with someone who's not there. You don't have to go behind closed doors to see the signs that he's slipping. He's not only slipping, he slipped a long time ago. And better look out at that fundraiser at Terry McAwful's house in Virginia that's coming up, where Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton will be there. And you better not let Hillary Clinton too close to Joe Biden, especially if there's a staircase or an open elevator shaft around, because Hillary's not done yet. She's still licking her chops, sharpening her claws. You know about Hillary. Also, Time Magazine, they've got a cover story of Joe Biden, and he looks crazy on the cover. He looks like he's going to leap across a desk and bite a child's face off or something. And the headline is, "If He Wins," by Massimo Calabrese. Massimo Calabrese, he writes the story for the Time Magazine. And President Biden on world leadership, war, and 2024 election. Time Magazine's got the story. They've got that. Also, his son, Hunter Biden, he's on trial in Delaware, where they've got a very friendly jury. They've got a jury that Hunter might have dated some of them before. They've got 2 Secret Service agents on the jury. What a coincidence. And in the courtroom, there is Jill Biden with her Secret Service detail. Isn't that amazing? And also the daughter, that Joe Biden showered with when, as if it could be appropriate at any age. But at an inappropriate age, Joe Biden showering with his daughter. And she was in the courtroom yesterday. She cried, she laughed, it moved her. There is one headline about her smiling at one point, another headline about her crying at another point. Might have some emotional issues, I'm not sure. But she was in the courtroom. She have a Secret Service detail too, Michael? I think she probably does. Oh, in fact, I know she does because I heard some rumors about that. Wink, wink, wink. I don't want to get into the sort of details about that, but it turns out Ashley Biden and her Secret Service detail, well, there's that protection thing can go 2 ways, if you know what I'm talking about. So a Hunter Biden jury to hear how brother's widow, Hallie, who Hunter Biden was having sex with, got hooked on crack cocaine as they dated. This family is honestly has no business being anywhere near the White House. They should be protesting outside with signs. Pretty amazing stuff. The jury to hear how brother's widow, Hallie, her last name is Biden, because she was married to Beau Biden, and then Beau Biden passed away tragically, and then Hunter started, I'll use the euphemism, dating her, since it's still early, dating her. When I say dating, I think you know that what I mean is beep, a beep, 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 because then she got hooked on crack cocaine. She's a very loyal girlfriend, though, isn't she? Well, sort of. It depends on how you score. Amazing stuff. And as I mentioned, Joe Biden arrived in Paris, France, where Louis Pasteur, flashing back to Blazing Saddles, but Biden announces border action will not demonize migrants. That's the headline. They put the word demonize in quotation marks. He will not demonize. How about gang members that murder nursing students? Will you demonize them? No. Oh, speaking of which, in California, the Democrats are completely insane. The Democrats voted in the state assembly overwhelmingly to give state jobs to every illegal alien that walks into the state of California, which is murdering everything. Just amazing. And what did they vote? The vote was crazy. It was a landslide. The Democrats voting in favor of guaranteed state government jobs for every illegal alien, including gang members, human traffickers, drug traffickers. Want to give them a paycheck, a government paycheck. If you live in California, you might as well just hang yourself now. The state's doing it for you. You don't really have to do anything, but amazing stuff. Pramila Jayapal came out yesterday. What do you mean she came out yesterday? I thought we always knew she was an anti-American racist jihadi. Well, that's not what she came out as. She came out against Biden on the border, though, on the executive order, and she lied because she was speaking. That's how I could tell. Pretty amazing stuff. And President Trump came out and spoke about Joe Biden's executive order on the border as well, and he points out that this will actually make matters worse and not better because it's true. Also, because there are Democrats that are judges all over the place, a Democrat judge sentenced a 75-year-old woman who is in failing health to 2 years in prison in a penitentiary because she protested peacefully and sang hymns at a late-term abortion clinic that Democrats run with the hope of cutting back on the black population in the United States, which they do, the Democrats do, very effectively. It's a long-standing tradition of them going back to the Confederacy and, the KKK and the Jim Crow laws and things. But the judge lectured the 75-year-old woman in failing health. Her husband is concerned. 2 years in prison. She'll die in prison. And the judge mocked her Catholicism, mocked her faith, and mocked her interest in saving human lives. It's, if these protesters had been successful that day, they might have saved a life or two. And the Democrat judge sentenced the nice woman, 75-year-old woman, to 2 years in prison for protesting. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. No property damage, but got 2 years in prison. Another woman that was at that pro-life protest was sentenced by the same judge to almost 5 years in a penitentiary for a pro-life protest. Yet the people that set the Church of the Presidents on fire, St. John's Church across from the White House, the people that injured 160 to 180 federal and D.C. police officers in front of the White House 4 years ago this past weekend, nobody's sentenced to a day in prison. But if you're pro-life and you're Catholic, then years in prison for you. Don't have to burn anything or break anything or hurt anybody. Amazing stuff. Yesterday was the 35th anniversary of the communist massacre of thousands of innocent students in Tiananmen Square, China. This is what the Democrats are bringing to the United States. And today is the 20th anniversary of the passing of the great President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan, 20 years ago today. Ronald Reagan passed. Boy, the world has changed a lot since then. Amazing stuff. Also, a remote Amazon tribe in Brazil was given access to the internet, and you'll never guess what they're doing with the internet. A primitive Brazilian tribe, like things pressed through their noses like bones and things. They look like college students in California, this primitive tribe in the Brazilian Amazon. But you'll never guess, when they got access to the internet, what did they immediately do? We are at 888-630-9625. Ah, yes. I know a lot of people. I hear a lot of things. And all of it turns out to be true. Well, almost all of it. I filter it, though. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Jeff calling from Hagerstown, Maryland. Jeffrey, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Thank you for taking my call, Chris. One observation I wanted to make with the sham trial of Donald Trump was that the jury really didn't even make it look good, whereas, usually when you have a bunch of charges about this or that or the other thing, you find at least 2 or 3 out of 34 that may have been not guilty to make you look. Why don't you make yourself look good like you actually did something that was just pushed right through? We all know that. Number 2, and I'll get off the phone and listen. Where exactly did Jill Biden go to school? What does she have? Did she go to What's the Matter You up in Frostbite Falls or something? I mean, come on, man. Give me a break with that woman. Anyway, have a great show, Chris.
Dr. Jill Biden, she went to the best doctor going school. She's, on The View, they told the audience on The View that she's a heck of a doctor and she should be Surgeon General of the United States of America. What's the matter you? She went to What's the matter you? You got no respect. Shut up your face. I love the reference to What's the matter you. That's good. And Jeff, you do make a great point that the jury in New York, if they wanted to make it look good, they at least should have found not guilty on 1 or 2 of the 34 charges, but just going and in very little time. They took a little longer than the O.J. Simpson jury, but not a lot. And they guilty on all 34 counts. Not a lot of introspection going on there, I think. And they didn't ask a lot of questions about the individual charges. You're right, they didn't even attempt to make it look good. But President Trump got an all-Democrat jury in Manhattan, of course, which is the most Democrat voting district in the United States of America. But in order to level the playing field and make it fair, they made sure that Hunter Biden also got an all-Democrat jury in Delaware. See, so it's all even Steven there. Now, the Biden family is not a good family. They're not a nice family. They're a sexually deviant family everywhere you look. And, Ashley Biden, who was forced, I guess, to shower with her father at inappropriate ages, went on to become what she said was a sex addict. She was a sex addict, and she had to be treated for it and all that stuff. Not for the skeevies, I don't think, not that I'm aware of, though maybe some antibiotics were recommended at some point. Because of the patriarchy, we have access to those wonderful drugs, antibiotics. They really are great. And when you need them, and she's not the only one in the family either with the Secret Service fixation. But we'll get back to that another time because, Joe Biden has that whole skinny dipping thing, and he sexually assaulted Tara Reid, who was a staffer of his in the Senate, and he's constantly sniffing and touching inappropriately women, and he's had a long history of inappropriate sexual conduct and touching and so on. It turns out Jill doesn't want to be brought into court and placed under oath on these matters either. And I got to tell you, the Secret Service could testify to a lot. And the Secret Service was in the courtroom yesterday with Ashley Biden, and she may know some of them very well. And the Secret Service was in the courtroom with Jill Biden, who's not a doctor at all. And honestly, it's so sordid. And then Hunter Biden is in there, and he's got a Secret Service detail, too. As far as I know, he's not having sex with his Secret Service detail, but that may come out later. He was having sex with his brother's widow and his brother's widow's sister, and they consider that to be just fine. And then his brother's widow got hooked on crack cocaine because she was hanging out Hallie Biden with Hunter Biden for so long that just crazy man, crazy. Now, before we get into the big news of the day, this is big news too. It is kind of funny and kind of sad. The story broke yesterday. And by the way, today is the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion of Normandy in France. And boy, what an event that was. Joe Biden is over there for it. Not sure if he knows why he's there because, according to the Wall Street Journal and Time Magazine, he's not altogether home, even at his best moments. But let me get back to this story, which now the New York Post has, and other outlets have it as well. Remote Amazon, in the Amazon in South America, the jungles. Remote Amazon tribe, and you got to see these guys. They have like bones through their noses, and they don't wear a lot of clothes, and they chains looping off of their heads that are made from beads in the jungle and stuff. Remote Amazon tribe finally connects to internet. They got the Starlink connection thanks to Elon Musk, only to wind up hooked on porn. They're hooked on porn. Social media. They got social media and porn, and that's what they got here. Hey, you guys, we'll introduce you guys who look like you spend most of your time pounding a couple of rocks on logs and give you access to the internet. A reclusive tribe in the Amazon finally got hooked up to the internet, thanks to Elon Musk, only to be torn apart by social media and pornography addiction. The elders of the tribe complain. Brazil's 2,000-member Marubo tribe. I like to say Marubo because you can't just say Marubo. It's M-A-R-U-B-O. But if you just say Marubo, I think that's white privilege or something. So I want to engage in cultural appropriation and pronounce it properly as Marubo. Marubo. The Marubo tribe they've been left bitterly divided after the arrival of the Tesla founder's Starlink service 9 months ago, which connected the remote rainforest community, there's that word community again, along with the Itui River. They connected them to the web, to the WWW, the World Wide Web, to the internet for the first time. When it arrived, everyone was happy, said Sanamaya Marubo, 73 years old, told the New York Times. The New York Times went down there. But now things have gotten worse, said the chief of the tribe. Young people have gotten lazy because of the internet. They're learning the ways of white people. Got to look out for that. That can lead to, might start behaving like the Biden family. The Marubo, that's the plural. They're Marubo singular, they're Marubo plural. The Marubo are a chaste tribe who even frown upon kissing in public. But Alfredo Marubo, all Marubo use the same last name. There are only 2,000 of them, so they're all Marubo, right? Probably cousins because they've been living in the remote rainforest in the Amazon for a million years, haven't gone anyplace else. Said that he is anxious that the arrival of the service, which delivers super fast internet, the Democrats are trying to get that for free to every place in the United States, to far-flung corners of the planet and has been billed as a game changer by Elon Musk, could upend standards and decorum. Well, I would certainly think so. It's happened here. Alfredo, one of the leaders, said many of the young Marubo, the young men, have been sharing porn videos in group chats, and he has already observed more aggressive sexual behavior in some of them. See, this could really explain a lot of what's going on in the Biden household. We're worried young people are going to want to try it. When he says try it, he doesn't mean the internet, okay? He means what they're seeing on Pornhub. What is the Marubo version of Pornhub? I think it's Pornhub. That's what it is. He said that the kinky sex acts that they've suddenly been exposed to on screen is changing their behavior, and they want to try it. Sure, well, that's what happens. Everyone is so connected that sometimes they don't even talk to their own family. Well, it turns out the internet has the same effect on everyone everywhere you go. That's pretty crazy. Starlink works by connecting antennas to 6,000 low-orbiting satellites, which Elon Musk put into space because he is a South African who became an American, and America is the land of opportunity, and he is the Howard Hughes of our era. He's an amazing person who's contributing extraordinary things to the planet, and this is only one of them. Now, the necessary antennas were donated to the tribe by American entrepreneur Allison Renault. Initially, the internet was heralded as a positive thing for the remote tribe, who were able to quickly contact authorities for help with emergencies, including potentially deadly snake bites. Had no way to contact people for snake bites, pretty crazy stuff. Yes, it is. They're living in the Amazon basin in the Ituyo River region. It's already saved lives, says Enoke Marubo, who's 40 years old. Members of the tribe are also able to share educational resources. Well, what do you think porn is? With other Amazonian tribes and connect with friends and family who now live elsewhere. Sure, they're like on Facebook with, bone through the nose kind of Facebook thing. It's slightly different, but only slightly. It's also opened up a world of possibilities for young Marubo, some of whom have been unable to conceptualize what lays beyond their immediate surroundings because, they live in the Amazon and it's kind of primitive there and they don't have electricity or anything because the patriarchy hasn't reached there and colonialism ended. Otherwise, they'd have electricity in hospitals and high-rises and all kinds of stuff, flat-screen TVs, but they don't have any of that stuff. One teen told the New York Times that she now dreams of traveling the world, while another says she aspires to becoming a dentist in Sao Paulo, a dentist, like Hermie, right, on the Isle of Misfit Toys. Maybe she saw Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and on the internet now she wants to be a dentist. However, Enoke also complained of the significant downsides. He said, it changed the routine so much that it was detrimental. Yeah, tell any parent in America. In the village, if you don't hunt, fish, plant, you don't eat. See, teach a man to fish and all that. Some young people maintain our traditions, says Tamase Marubo, who's 42. Others just want to spend the whole afternoon on their phones. Yeah, no kidding. There are people walk into traffic in Washington, D.C. on their phones all day, every day. Tribes people became so addicted to the internet and their phones that Marubo leaders, fearing that their history and culture, which is passed down orally, could be lost forever. Yeah, welcome to the world in the 21st century. They have now limited access to the internet for 2 hours each morning, 5 hours each evening, and all day Sunday. That's still a lot, I think. That's an awful lot. But parents still worry the damage may already be done. Another father, Kaipe Marubo, says he's anxious about his children playing violent first-person shooter games. And, if they had schools, they'd have school shootings now because the internet and the Marubo tribe, this actually is quite instructional, I think. This is the internet. Look what it's doing to them. They don't have electricity. They don't have the internet. They don't have phones. Then, boom, suddenly they do because of the generosity of the patriarchy and white people and because the amazing technology that Elon Musk has made available to people all over the world. And it didn't take any time at all before the whole culture is on the rocks. And the adults are saying, I think we need to limit our kids' access to the internet. I'm worried that they're suddenly going to want to mimic them, the things that they see on the internet. Oh, this is almost hilarious, too. Meanwhile, others say that they've fallen victim to internet scams. They have like Nigerian princes contacting them. They've got money in the bank already. Given that they lack digital literacy, while many youngsters are chatting with strangers on social media. Yeah, Democrats in the United States should not be allowed into the basin. That's pretty amazing stuff. So there it is. It's called ethnocentrism. That's right. The white man thinking they know what's best. That's the problem. That's the problem we have here, too. That's a pretty amazing story, I've got to say. And the internet, it's an amazing resource, an amazing tool. And like so many things in life, it's not all good, is it? No, it's not. We've got, I just wanted to share that story because it's a wild and crazy story. It truly is. And it's, I blame the Democrats. I mean, who else would you blame? Elon
Musk's fault.
Well, Elon Musk was a Democrat until he found out that the Democrats weren't for free speech, and then he decided that he had to do something about that. And good for him. He's a great American for sure, Elon Musk. Now, Democrats are out of their minds, of course. There's a Democrat judge. I mentioned this story earlier. Judge, this is Catholic Vote, has the story. Catholic Vote has the story. Judge chides elderly pro-life rescuer about dying in prison and her faith. Why would a judge do that? That's pretty crazy. After sentencing 75-year-old Paulette Harlow to 2 years in jail, Judge Colleen Collar-Cotelli quipped in the courtroom about the elderly pro-lifer's husband and her husband's concern that she might die in prison, age of 75, in failing health. She protested as a pro-life protester at a late-term abortion clinic, and the judge, Collar-Cotelli, commented that she hopes Harlow will, quote, make an effort to remain alive, end quote, because that's a, quote, tenet of your religion. That's what the judge said. So the judge is mocking the 75-year-old pro-life protester who she just sentenced to 2 years in prison for protesting at an abortion clinic. The same judge had sentenced another woman to from the same protest, another woman to almost 5 years in prison. And the husband, John Harlow, spoke in court before the sentencing about concerns about his wife's declining health and his fear that she might die in prison with 2 years in prison, failing health, the age of 75. Says, in my heart, I think she's having a hard time staying alive, her husband, John Harlow, said, according to Live Action. We've tried to be good people, he said. I love my wife dearly. They're in their 70s. We're throwing ourselves on the mercy of the court. And the court, Democrat, Judge Colleen Collar-Cotelli, has no mercy. She is merciless. That's how you know that she's a Democrat, and she's anti-life. And the judge is actually 80 years old or something, and she went to the Catholic University of America, which should probably, for undergrad and for law school. And Catholic University should pull her law certificate and her BA. They should pull her diplomas from her. Amazing stuff. And the husband is pleading with the judge, please, she's 75 years old. She's in failing health. You can't sentence her to prison for being at a peaceful pro-life protest at an abortion clinic. To hell with you. 2 years for you. 2 years. And I hope you try to stay alive, she says, mocking her Catholic faith, mocking her failing health, and mocking life. It's a pro-life woman at an abortion clinic, and the allegedly Catholic judge, who is obviously a lefty, honestly being dismissive, contemptuous of her Catholic faith and of life. You know, a pro-life protester. Her husband protesting she might die. She's thrown in prison till she's 77 years old, and the judge, Colleen Collar-Cotelli, mocked her, ridiculed her, and ridiculed her faith and her desire to be pro-life and to stand for life. And the judge says, I could care less if you die in prison, lady. Wow. There's a Biden voter. I got to look her up. I got to see, maybe Obama made her a judge. Just amazing stuff. Judge Colleen Collar-Cotelli. Heck of a job, Colleen. What a country it is. We had such a nice country. I just looked up this judge, actually, and kind of a peculiar background. She was initially appointed to the Superior Court of the District of Columbia by Ronald Reagan in 1984, but then she was promoted by Bill Clinton in 1996 to the District Court, the United States District Court for the District of Columbia. So I guess she is more with Clinton than with Reagan, I'm thinking. Again, today, the 20th anniversary of the death of Ronald Wilson Reagan. But let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Chris calling from Port Clinton, coincidentally, Port Clinton, Ohio. Chris is running with his phone. He's on the treadmill.
Hello.
Hello, there you are.
Hey,
what do you say?
Calling from the beautiful shores of Lake Erie in Port Clinton, Ohio.
Very nice.
You know, maybe the woman should have burned the place down, blew it up, and killed somebody. She'd have got probation. I mean, maybe prison will change her. When she gets out, she'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the double standard is something that we talk about quite frequently. And, you know, we've got protesters that glue themselves to things all over the place. They glue themselves to the highways, blocking traffic coming in. They glue themselves to artworks and museums. They obstruct people from going anywhere and everywhere all the time. Lefties do. And again, I like to point this out, Chris, and that is that, just last weekend was the 4th anniversary of a mob of Democrats attacking the White House, forcing the evacuation of the President of the United States, who was Donald Trump at the time, and the First Family, setting the Church of the Presidents on fire, injuring more than 160 police officers. Not a single person was sentenced to a single day in jail. Huh.